Over the weekend, a bipartisan group of Congresspeople in the Problem Solvers Caucus visited a migrant detention center at the U.S.-Mexico border. Among them, Lancaster County Representative Lloyd Smucker. He joins us this morning on the Fox 43 Capitol Beat. Thank you for joining us. This was your first trip down to the border, correct? Right. What did you see there?
So just a quick story that sort of captures some of the things we see. In one of the facilities, we saw a bassinet with a 10-month-old boy being cared for by a female, happened to be female Border Patrol agent. This boy had come with a man who turned out to be his father. So they don't know his name, they don't know where he's from, they don't know whether he'd been kidnapped or sold or what it'd be. Our laws are allowing folks to take advantage of kids in that way.
How would you characterize the treatment of people there?
People are pretty well treated. The system is completely overwhelmed. And this was a processing facility. People are held there while we determine who they are to the best of our ability. People are well cared for. They're given food, water. They've been traveling for a long distance. And they're moved out of that facility as soon as beds become available. So about an average of a little bit over a day stay at that facility.
So you say that people are well treated for, and which matches what the vice president said when he went down last week. Pool reports said that there were people that had been there for 40 days, that kids were given food, but they didn't have a place to clean up. There were people on your trip that talked about how kids didn't have toothbrushes or a chance to brush their teeth. Not to mention the fact that 6 children have died in Border Patrol custody since this all started. So is that acceptable in your eyes?
So first of all, there were several trips there. This group was a group, part of the Problem Solvers, Democrats and Republicans, and we talked then after the day and talked about our impressions. We all shared these thoughts that the Border Patrol folks who are doing the best they absolutely can with the resources they have are completely overwhelmed. Our system is completely overwhelmed. They're taking good care, they're giving the best care they possibly can. Everyone in our group, we had access to people throughout the facility, talked to a lot of people. Again, there were some people who've been there for a few days, but well taken care of.
So, there's a difference between what the limits of what Border Patrol agents can do, and you mentioned the photo of the Border Patrol agent in the bassinet that your colleague posted. We actually have that picture, which we can show here, which we can do in a second, hopefully, and also what Congress can do. And here's that photo, which is both heartbreaking and heartwarming at the same time, but also. Can Congress, what can Congress do to make sure that kids are being treated better, that they have a place to wash up at the end of the day, that they have the ability to brush their teeth?
They do have the ability to brush their teeth. They're given 60% of the Border Patrol resources are going to care for folks who are there. But sort of the overwhelming feelings that we had, we were sad for the people who are coming from horrific conditions to come here because they're trying to access the American dream. We were sad for the Border Patrol agents who are being put in a position where it's very, very difficult for them to process everyone who's coming in. But we were also felt this sense of responsibility. Only Congress can fix this. And the Mexican cartels, every individual who came into that facility paid someone to be part of that. It's an organized human trafficking operation responding to the incentives where our laws have broken down that is bringing all of these people here. Top thing from the Border Patrol agents of what we can do, specific laws that we need to fix to ensure that we stop the flow of people. Not that we don't want to welcome people to our country. We want people to be here to live the American dream, but they have to stand in line, they have to do it legally, and it shouldn't be in conjunction with the Mexican cartel, which is what's happening today.
You mentioned the people there, you mentioned the word American dream and asylum seekers. And this is something where just yesterday, the Trump administration argued in court that they want to block asylum seekers from a handful of Central American countries. That Does that go against kind of what you and other members of the Problem Solvers Caucus want to accomplish here?
Today, someone seeking asylum can simply walk up, can turn themselves into Border Patrol agents. It's happening. Hundreds of people are doing this every day. Turn themselves in, say, we have a credible fear. Asylum means that you fear your life is in danger. The economic condition that you came from is not the sufficient criteria for political asylum. These people then are put into a year or two long process. Only about 15% end up getting asylum. One of the best ideas, I think, is that people seeking asylum should do it at the embassy in the country where they live. It would stop the flow of people coming across the border.
Can there be a path to bipartisan reform in this?
Again, this is a group that we believed it was necessary to go see firsthand what was happening, talking to the Border Patrol agents. We now feel an urgency to fix this, and we want to work together in a bipartisan basis. We will now, that particular group will be discussing some of the ideas that we received, some of the things that we think we can do to fix the system, and we hope to advance some proposals that will become law in the near future.
You go into recess next week, you return, and then you jump right back into this, I'm sure. Unfortunately, we're out of time. Congressman Smucker, thanks so much for joining us. I feel like we could go another 15 minutes talking about this. Fascinating stuff. Thank you.